I can't remember the veto, but I believe it's Erangel and Miramar next. So there's a potential that we don't even have that Sanhok match, which is usually the sort of the turning point in series. Traditionally we see like Erangel, Miramar, Sanhok as the first three, and one team wins the first two, the other team comes back, arrests the momentum on map 3 in that Sanhok. But the fact that we don't have that, the completely different play style of the Sanhok in our first 3 games means that I think this match is going to be really important for setting the tempo. The play style from Russia in the past, where they're relying very much on their abilities in gunfights. And I mean, to an extent, that does work in Nations Royale. I think it works a lot more in this than it does maybe in some other game modes. But there does come a point where 2 teams are fairly evenly matched. And then it's about that shot. If you're against a team where, even if it's, if it was like a 60-40%, if you went purely off gun skill, which I think this is, right? I think if you look at this, you'd say something like a 60-40 Russia.
Makes sense.
Off that, it then becomes which team can employ the better strategy, because if they're both pretty similar in gunfire, it then becomes a 50-50, and you never really want 50-50s.
Yeah, it's and even so, like even if it is, let's see. Oh, deep, you gotta land that. Let's see, can you do it second time around? Left, right, nope. Zigzag. Nope, misses it.
Yeah, unfortunately, sniper rifle's not very good. So.
You say you never want 50-50s. I see what you're saying, but at the same time, that to me is when we kind of get to. I guess we can say, really see them be forced to try and play from a strategic standpoint, instead of just YOLO rushing into one another. Because if it keeps evening out, then at some point you got to think that they would want to try something else and just sprinting into each other's faces, which is kind of what we've seen so far, and strangely enough, also kind of been what's been working for some teams.
Yeah, but if you look at Turkey, they'd never, especially early game, I'd say like phase 1 to phase 3, they very rarely take a gunfight where they're not the favourites to win. We look back to the Erangel game we just saw versus Ukraine, where they saw that there was only a small group of the Ukrainian players down in the scrapyard compound, and they just overwhelmed it and opened a man advantage that way. And every time they're looking for situations where they have the advantage and they're exploiting it. So I want to see which of these teams is best at exploiting those moments. And one way you can do that is by picking off these isolated players.
True. Seems like it's working out right now. It is even in numbers, but let's see, Kizik tapping away with an M4. It is going to be him to take down Trifley, and that should be a little bit of a sigh of relief, because it is the last player that at least this squad of Russian players had in the nearby surroundings. So that should open up and whatnot over the course of the tournaments we've had. They've always kind of stuck with the same, like whether you're passive or aggressive, I guess you can say.
Oh, mistakes were made. Mistakes were made by Levy, and Marcy gets him down. And that's going to be a 2-man advantage opening up early for Russia, which is nice. And if Deepo flushes kill there, there's a potential for 3. But a trade does come into Marcy. Is there a res there?
Ooh.
No,
might be able to.
There's a lot of knocks coming in favour of Finland, actually. So it was a little bit of a man advantage for Russia. Might turn back the other way here if Finland can flush out these players. But now I'm looking at this circle, and Russia has a really nice sort of aggressive defensive line. Sounds a bit oxymoronic, but they have this sort of concave on the northern side, which is locking Finland out of the circle. And if Finland just tries to rush into that, it's going to be very difficult to make their way into the circle. So I want to see a lot of the Finnish roster now come through Milnar all the way to Pilnek and take control of that hilltop where Minna is currently on his own. Because was it Hungary versus Ukraine? Hungary versus Norway. I think we saw a fight there where
true, down by the bottom where they rotated all the way around.
Yeah, and the team that swung around and came up from the south was the team that eventually won out of the game. So I kind of want to see that from Finland. Whether they recognise that is the way into the circle for them or not, I'm not sure. And
flank attempt.
Whether they just want to go for a gunfight early on, just commit to a 20 versus 10 if they can find one instead. There's also another way they can win, because there is that pocket on the north which they might be able to exploit.
Yeah, we'll see. Circle's going to start closing in. Actually, it is closing in already. Will that get them the... will they have enough time, I guess we should say, to make that play? Because it's not going to be an easy one. They need to, if they want to wrap all the way south around, then... they probably need to find some more vehicles. It seems like there's a few cars on the west side. You see Poro where they are. There's a lot of pluses down there. So that's a little bit of a cavalry rotating around. Maybe they are right. Maybe they are going for that south around play.
Yeah, and that's where the little forward operating base that Mikaz and Litskis have set up just east of Pilnak. That's where that's coming in really strong because they now know that area of the map is safe and that they can move into it. He just landed the luckiest headshot of his life. Willu gets a kill. Will he get a... I don't think we'll get a flush. And he is definitely going to get a flush there. But that was a nice little lucky headshot. But we'll always take a bit of luck.
Arguably called pretty damn fortunate.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, we see that big Finnish group now swung around on the south and found a way onto the hilltop. The circle has gone east, which means that this hilltop now is pretty much where the circle's going to end. Right? I mean, it's like a 90% of the playable area now. So realistically, it's all about can Finland fight their way up the hill and take control of the area around Hirzan before the rest of the Russian reinforcements could come in and hold them out.
I feel like if you're Russia, you don't... I mean, there's no reason to postpone the game for another circle. You just fortify the winery and like the vineyard up in this area, and then you kind of close it out that way. I would assume at least that's what they're going to be doing. You can see that it's kind of what they're doing too. I mean, they already have the 6-player number advantage, and I don't know. It seems to me like they should just go up and try and see if they can finish it right here, right now. It seems like that's what's happening.
Yeah, as long as they can hold this western edge of the circle and force Finland to sort of stay down in this valley, they can pretty much just set up a bit of a kill zone and just start taking out the Finnish players. And we see now that man advantage is in Finland's favour, but the kill feed is looking very Finnish.
Yeah, they're starting to turn things around now. There are coming some Russian kills. There are some Russian kills coming into the feed as well, but 8 players down for Finland. They are the ones trying to push forward. And as you can see, I mean, if the Russian team... the Russian bunch up there on the northern side managed to kind of collapse on Finland from behind too. That's going to make staying alive for Finland extremely difficult.
Yeah, now Finland's starting to get a bit disorganized, starting to get sort of stuck into these little groups. We have pretty much half the Finnish roster that's not involved in this fight at all, with a little group up in the north and a little group to the east. And now Russia's just starting to pick them apart. And that 9-man advantage, which actually I think is a little bit more than that if you take into account the amount of players knocked, is looking very Russian.
It does seem to be going in their favor. And I mean, you reach points where, with the numbers the way that they are, you're just not going to turn it around. Right now, they're 2-1, and this is going to be tough. This is going to be real tough. Now, there are a lot of Russian players bundled up, and I was just going to say, if they can get some good nades in there might be a chance.
Yeah.
But is there going to be enough? I'm not sure. There are a lot of Finnish names in the kill feed, but will it be enough? I am not quite certain.
Yeah, this group needs to do a lot of damage because there is actually quite a strong Finnish contingent already in the circle. There's, I think, 8 or 9 players towards that eastern edge. But if they're the only players left alive against 21 Russians, it's going to become so difficult for them to win. The little group that's left on the west needs to do damage, make sure they're flushing out their kills, and that's just not quite happening. And the fact that group to the east is just not having an impact on this fight means that Russia has effectively came into this gunfight with the 10-man advantage. And the fact that they converged on it and put pretty much their entire roster there meant that they could just shut down Finland. And now, I mean, if you go purely off the numbers, 20-8, it's going to be really rough for this Finnish, the remaining forces to hold on.
You can see that all the remaining players from Finland are scattered all over the place, and I'm not seeing them be able to really get that going whatsoever. It's going to be really tough for them to do it.
I think realistically you're expecting this to be a 1-0, but now it's all about how much damage can Finland do. Can they make sure this is close? Can they show that they're capable? Because if Russia wins this and it's a big blowout, as it's sort of looking right now, they then come into those next 2 games with a lot of confidence. I said this game is going to set the tempo, and if Finland really can't show that they can win those gunfights, then the tempo is all in Russia's favor.
Not that many players left alive for Finland, but the ones that are there are doing everything they can to stay alive. Shaxi and Sampula are getting called out. There's a hunt going on, and there's a hunt for Finnish players. Shaxi's found. Sampula is trying to make a run off, and I'm wondering how much effort will these Finnish players put in to try and stay alive, as opposed to maybe just kind of not forfeiting, but admitting defeat to some extent and let them be found.
I think at this point you just go and you just try and take those gunfights, and if you get 3 kills, you've done your job. But you only really have 1 if you're trying to fight 3 players at the same time. Realistically speaking, this I think it's going to be the end of the game now.
I think there's one more player left alive, and it should be over any moment now. There you have it. Finland will take home game number 1 in what wasn't as blowout-y.
As close, I think the 16-0 is not really telling you about how close the game actually was.
True.
Because I think there was a point really where there were probably 10 or maybe even less Russian players actually up. There were so many knocks, and Finland just couldn't flush out those players. And the game really is very different if they come out of that far on the West with only 10 up.
Also, I feel like once you hit that middle point, where it's like the ship's sinking, right? Once you have enough below water, it doesn't matter if there's still a good chunk of it above. It's going to sink. I mean, you're going to die. And that's the same thing here. I feel like you can oftentimes, not always, but oftentimes determine a winner by who goes down, like by a deficit of, let's say, 5 or 6 players first.
What's the 2U? It's become so, you need to make a hero play to have any chance.
Yeah. Well, who knows? Maybe that hero play is going to be happening right now. Marsik has gone down. The punches are coming in. Did that just curse them, or did that give them what they needed to have the aggression to get the win? I'm not sure. Just Baum knows that the metrics is around. And, he's pushing forward with a mini, which obviously isn't the weapon of choice for close quarter combat. Nope, he's going to fall.
That's where maybe those nades the metrics through might come in handy, but he should be able to get that kill. I don't think there's an opportunity to flush it. But never mind. Oh no, he's got a nade. No, that's not a nade. You have a frag. Why is he flash?
Should have thrown a nade. No, he didn't.
Nade.
Huh? That would have been a kill. Interesting.
It might have been 2. Okay. I'm not going to question it. He's still actually going to get can he get the flush this time around?
He should be able to.
He's going to overextend. I've already now he runs across this gap and just gets knocked as he does it. There we go. I don't know why I didn't use it. No.
And then he gets knocked.
Unfortunately.
He did throw his nade, though. Unfortunately, it was a little too late. So they're down by 2 now. They have the circle, the Finnish team, up by 2, I should say. And they have the circle to a pretty good extent as well. What does Russia do here to find a good foot?
Lucky for them is they might be able to pick off these individual players. But if the circle now comes southeast, there are a lot of these Russian players here that don't have a vehicle, and which, as you said, is so important on this map at least. They should get this kill. I mean, there's no one there to res. So halving the deficit, but still, this group not having cars, those players now, it takes them so long to get into the circle, and they also the sort of the direction they can go is very one-dimensional because they can't do a big flank like
4, maybe 5 inside the compound up there on the northern side. You can see Yuxik found Minas, so they are doing damage. They have their presence been known, and maybe that's going to be kind of the entry point for what I will call the Russian spearhead, the Russian main army, who are currently a little further up towards the north, but maybe they don't want to overcommit.
It arrives 5 seconds before phase 3 starts. So in that time, you have to stay in one place. You can't, if you want the crate or you want the BRDM, you can't drive off somewhere else. Go do something. You sort of get locked to a position. So I kind of feel like that's why we don't see as many BRDMs, and often we don't see the
bullets already flying forward.
There's that one caveat. They don't get blown up, right?
Yeah,
it stops the engine. So realistically, yes, you get shot out of the sky, but you just land. And as long as you're not flying too far away from where your teammates are, you have time to turn around and just land where you are. So I kind of like this. It reminds me of in World War One, they had those like blimps that they put up, right? And they'd send someone up and sit in the blimp and just look around. It's almost like they're holding this blimp up above the main group just so they can have a look around. And I think it actually works really nicely. It's as you said, it's great information. But I don't think they necessarily need it because it looks like they're going to go for a bit of a push into the walled compound on the western edge.
Just found accidentally shot Hades. Willow finds one that's not a teammate. Fortunately, that's an opponent. Willow is by himself though, so Tavo is sitting, trying to hide it out as best as he can. Lopes finds one. That's Kissick gone down. But I feel like, Tavo's got to let his presence be known at some point. You can't sit around and watch your teammates die forever.
Oh, Willow's got another one, but he does get traded. We see the kill feed there. And I don't actually know if he got the flush as well. But, we see there's a lot of individualistic play coming in from Finland right now, where they have these solos that are sort of stuck in the compound. They're having a bit of an impact. They're keeping the man advantage relatively... Well, they're keeping it at 27-27. But I'm a little bit nervous. I think it's better off to just stay as a group. And the fact that these players have got isolated, it's luckily for them, it's working out. Oh no. Hold on.
This is not going too well.
I've seen better flying in my
Mayday, 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 boing. There we go. That's the landing if I've seen one. Anyone is AFK.
Did he crash? I think he's crashed. Because he's still revving the engine. Yeah.
Okay, it's pretty impressive landing.
Lucky for battling. Yeah. Lucky it didn't flip, because I think it was turning and going down at the same time. So lucky that he survives that. But yeah, I think he's crashed.
Yeah.
His eyes are closed.
Yeah, he is sleeping. Seems like it anyway. Let's see. Mesoli made his way inside the compound again, spread all over the place. They do still have the numbers advantage, Finland, and we are kind of waiting for that final engagement to start as we see Denneman chill out. Circle goes east. We're headed into the open, and you've got to give the benefit here, in terms of circle, this is Finland written all over it. They can stay in the forest on the south side and just kind of, chill and wait for all the Russian players to be out in the open.
Yeah, Russia, we saw earlier, they didn't really have many cars, right? Yeah, that's exactly why they're on this northwest, because a lot of them had to run into the circle. Mm. So now if it then comes into the field, if it then comes anywhere except north, it becomes very difficult for any of those Russian players to get in the zone, because they're just going to get shut down as they try and run in. So realistically, you have to say Finland's at the advantage this game, but we saw last game how good Russia were in gunfights. They're finding these isolated players now that they can trade, but it's not really going well. Kovalev shuts down 2 and gets in the cover. So the few man advantage now for Finland. I think this might be a 1-1.
It might just be 3 players advantage. It's not enough for me to call it quits for Russia yet. But having said that, as you can see, they are extremely cornered on the northwest side. Should the next circle go northwest to some extent, allowing for them to stay up on the hill? I'd say there's a chance. But as you can see here, it's just a matter of time before Finland gets some of these sneaky snakes in from behind, and then you have to say that it's going to go their way.
Yeah, we said at the start of the game that phase 4, phase 5 is when the man advantage starts to hit home. And if Finland can keep it around a 3 or a 4 man advantage, if they can continue to shut down players with this little Western group, then realistically it doesn't really matter where the circle goes, because Finland can start to overwhelm. But yeah, there is that one caveat of how open this area of the map is. If Russia then gets a favourable shift north, and this big southern group has to come in, and all those vehicles are getting shot constantly, then yeah, there's an opportunity here for Russia to win. And if they can shut down this little attack squad from Finland without losing too many players to it, then maybe they can turn that advantage back in their favour.
I feel like right now their main threat or main focus point has to be making sure that that Finland doesn't get that hill. Because if they have both the field, the forest, and the northwest or the western hilltop control, then you're just sitting ducks in the open. So I really like the fact that they didn't run down to their teammates once the fight started on top. They actually pushed up to try and take control. And I'm surprised to see Finland hasn't done more to maybe try and contest it.
Yeah, Faultlessly and Severakka did a really good job of just preventing the Finnish players from getting up top. They're starting to shut down what's left. I think Sampuda's now last one up. And we spoke about Finland's man advantage being useful. Where's it gone? It's gone.
Kinds of trouble for a good while longer.
Yeah, but Russia, I think, needs to start trying to find a man advantage, use the high ground to get some kills, right? Because they're still at a disadvantage when that main fight will break out because of the realities of the circle. So if they can maybe get a 3 or 4 man advantage, there's an opportunity where they can just overwhelm. And if they're getting individual players like this with the Zuna overextending in the car, which finally shuts down, if they keep doing that sort of thing to try and get map control, or if Russia can shut down this southwestern group that needs to leave probably on that circle, there's an opportunity where Russia can overcome the bad position by just overwhelming.
Something. So I'm looking for, Kune. What can you do? What can you do with a gun?
Yeah, I think that shack there is going to be really important with where Heppes is. If they can have an impact from that position, especially with this circle where it's dead center, if they can have an impact from that position and get a fair few kills, then it should be Finland's game. But I'm looking at this and I'm very nervous for that southwestern group now. They need to get into the circle. Russia has enough ground that they can probably shut down the places they run in. So it's looking a little bit rough.
Russia does need to get down from the hill too. And I feel like the people in the field can't really push all that far until the hill people come down too. And they will have to move, most importantly, before the guys that are in the compound southwest will. So I feel like Finland has time now where they can sit, as you can see right now, follow the guys trying to make their way down and try and kind of get as many kills as they can off of that to then focus the fight into the field with the man advantage.
Yeah, it seems like they have some cars in the southwestern compound. I just watched the map stream that we have, and 3 people drove out. So they have a few vehicles over there, which will help protect them. You just shot the bush. But anyway, yeah. So they can escape, luckily for them. Because if that was shut down and we got like a 5-6 advantage, then I kind of felt like it would be Russia's game. But now, with it being fairly even, I would say it's something like a 60-40, maybe 70-30 if they were Finland right now.
But then you put numbers on it like that. It's all, to me, this is all going to come down to who lands the shots. Like right here, right now, this is going to be an open field ending. I feel like this ending is going to be as even as you could make them.
It's just that bit of hard.
It's just one open field.
Yeah, but it's that shack that, as I said, is going to be so influential in this because it is the only piece of hardcover left in this circle. It's the only position where you can shoot from it, get knocked, and get rezzed. If you're getting knocked in these fields, you're dead. That's your game over. But using that position, if they can use it effectively, which so far they have been doing Finland, then they can start to extend the man advantage in their favor and really use it to isolate where the Russian players are. But for now, it's still a fairly even game.
Yeah, it sure is. It's 19-18 in favor of Finland. You can see Russia having to try and do something here. They're trying to make their way around. Now, maybe Trifty wants to start considering using a first aid rather than the 17 bandage shells because Russia's knocking on the door, and I don't think they're coming to sell coupons of any kind. I think they want that shack and start stalling people.
Yeah, really now we're seeing 2 separate fights break down. We've got the west and the eastern side. And I think this eastern one is really the important thing because Russia can start to get a concave on the Finnish players around the shack and shut down the cover. And these nades are big.
One nade there would be absolutely crucial, but they just can't seem to find the target as I say that. Jupsik got knocked by the flying bike, and that, my friends, is a whole hell of a lot of Finnish players on their knees.
Yeah, and if Chifley gets shut down here, if Scooby can get a nade through the window, suddenly this goes from something that was looking in Finland's favour to be completely the opposite of that. And the circle has gone north as well. The circle's gone in favour of Russia. The shack is still in the south, but suddenly the kill feed is just looking very Russian.
It is going to be a really close one. This one, it's been very one-sided fights all day today so far. This one could be the first that we're going to see where it literally could come down to the last 1 or 2 players standing. The circle, as you said, has gone towards the northwest, so somewhat favoring the Russian team. They are up by 5 now. The numbers are starting to go even more so in their favor. Was it really all they had to do? Wait for that one circle shift to go towards them in order to close out the game?
No, I think it was more that they put so much pressure on the southwest and the northeast, and they started to get a bit of a wraparound on this shack, where Hepis was. They started to make it so that shack was essentially unplayable. And then now they've got control of it. And then suddenly the remaining Finnish players have absolutely nowhere to go. And Chifley's going to get shut down, and there we go. Russia goes up 2-0.
2-0 Russia. That's, I don't want to say it's surprise. Then that's a decent game for you. Can you get 6-7? That's a pretty good game. If you can get like double-digit kills in a normal comp game, then you're like really, really having a good game. Whereas to here, I feel like they with very few exceptions, people that get 5 kills have had like some sort of master performance.
Yeah, or they've shot a car that's got 4 people in it.
Or that.
Yeah. You either get really lucky or you do something nuts. And that's the only way you get more than 1 kill. Really. And like getting 2 kills on this is really important because time and time again we speak about the strength of a man advantage. So if you're one of those players that early game gets 2 kills before you get traded, yes, it's only 1 in favor of your team, but if 3 or 4 of your players on the team can do the same thing, suddenly it's a 4-man advantage. Yeah.
For now, with players from both nations inside, Solf has found one of the Finnish players, but no flushes come in just yet. And you can see here, Raw, he's heard Aliyah around the corner. Oh no, Aliyah actually spins on him and gets the kill.
Yeah, Batlin, I think, actually helped out from behind as well. So a great timing there, lucky timing maybe for Aliyah to get the kill, and now man advantage early on in Russia's favor. But I think this fight here is really important for the game because if the players can't successfully trade 1-for-1, what a nade by Willie. That's perfect. That is exactly the kind of impact you need to have. But Can he flush the second kill? I'm not sure.
If you're Priel here, you're pissed.
Yeah, I'm out of it with. There's only going to be like 2 or 3. But here isn't. Yeah, you're not long for this world.
I feel like Finland is, they as a team, Finland is starting to make smarter decisions. Moving around together, playing it smart. One thing I've never understood, though, is if you're, I mean, I don't know if it's stubbornness or lack of communication or what it is, but if you're getting, like, if you're flying into a city and seeing an equal amount of opponents going into that city as well, just go away.
And now we see that
what went so well for them just turned around now.
When you mean that little Finnish group, they didn't really group up. I think they were in, I think, 2 separate 3-man teams, whereas Russia just grouped up as a 7. And then they just started blobbing, just started running it at every sound they heard, started shutting it down. And now, all of a sudden, there's 3 players left in this city versus, 8 Russian players maybe. Realistically speaking, Mikaz needs to do something incredible here. Minna as well. They need to do something nuts to have any impact in this game. Mikaz so low as well. Yeah, there we go. Just gets taken down. And
that's your captain full and nerdy, right? That's gonna be tough.
But let's say these 3 players go down without even getting one now. Well, we're looking at 28-21. If Masuli goes down as well, I mean, 7-man disadvantage coming into this. Here we go. 7-man disadvantage in phase 1.
That ain't it.
That's rough. Yeah, the little group on the southern edge is trying to rotate in here. Sampula, I don't think is very long for this world as Russia are trying to collapse in, but they're just picking off these players one by one. And for some reason, it seems like if we go back to the Turkey match we just saw, the third game, it just seems to be a bit more crazy at the start of the match. The start of the match, I mean, it's not quite the Sanok game that we just witnessed, but this start of the game has been really aggressive for what we're sort of used to.
True. That's been a little more accurate than what we've seen so far, but it tends to be, right, when you have a team losing 2 games in a row. And then it's not like they're giving up coming into the last game, but they go, okay, now we've got to change something because we have our backs against the wall. So they go a little more aggro. And then sometimes that can work out surprisingly well. And sometimes the other team is kind of ready for it to some extent. And it just doesn't work at all.
Yeah, I'm skeptical of whether Finland actually needed to do that because they didn't.
I mean, I just can't boggle my mind around that because with the way that Russia is playing, that even when they get circles and potentially, like, technically games going against them, they manage to turn things around. That they can get wrecked so hard by Turkey, that's pretty wild to me.
Man, I kind of feel like if they rematch, that's not going to happen again. But based on what we've seen, I think, from this series, I don't think it happens again.
No, maybe not.
Although, I mean, I say that. I mean, what we saw Turkey, Ukraine, it's ridiculous.
My point exactly. Well, that's another game. Not even a guaranteed one. Let's see here if Finland has anything up against Russia. Coyote is looking for kills. Pokemolodoy is found. Coyote gets one. Ain't going to be able to fight more, though. Goose gets his teammate and Coyote with a little bit of collateral damage. But overall, it's all right because the rest will be coming in.
Right now we have 3 players in the entire server that's in the circle because they're just taking this big gunfight. Maybe there's a mistake here from Russia. I don't think they have that many vehicles in the south, so maybe they might lose a couple of players to the blue, but it's just at a point where it doesn't matter. I mean, we look at this, we've got 4 Finnish cars trying to come in from the southern edge. If they, one of those cars drives into a Russian enemy, they're dead. That's what they're up for. Just as long as they hit the shots. As long as you hit your shots, Jacko.
And
there we go.
I was gonna say that might also be the chance that he hits that tree and explodes himself. That's exactly what ended up happening. Well, 9 versus 26. Russian players have started killing one another. It's not gonna work your way. Don't allow Finland back into it. Russia, if you want to win it, might as well take it home in fashion. DS falls now as well. Now, as you were saying, players are gonna start falling to the blue as phase 3 connects.
Yeah, but it becomes at a point now where actually a lot of that Russian team is stuck in the blue on foot. And if they lose like 10, 15 players to the circle here, maybe the 8 could do something. But if they get shut down before they also can get to the circle, which seems to be happening right now, I mean, it seems like neither team can really get to the zone because they're all fighting outside the blue. I mean, there's a couple of players in now. We see, I think it's 3 Finnish players and two Russians.
Yeah, I mean, you have to.
Circle, but
you'd have to think that, given Russia has more than 4 times the player count, and you can see how many vehicles are moving in now as well, it's GG.
Yeah.
Unless if they start literally murdering each other just because they want to play a 4th game, this should be
versus 14. So, yeah, I mean, I'm trying to find a way it happens. I just don't see it. But that might be it. Russia, as you said, if Russia starts killing, if they do a Turkey and start losing a bunch of
former team captain pans the current team captain. I like it. There's a bit of a mutiny going on, maybe. I'm not sure. Could be that that's the case. Now Battling gets run over. The mutiny is in full effect. Full effect confirmed. Battling has fallen. Here you have the remaining Russian or Finnish players, I should say. 5 of them. 4 of them are here. The last one's on the other side. Flak has heard and seen them. What can you do here? This is going to be Alamo all over again.
Although the colours are right for that as well. The colours are perfect, with the blue being in a bit of a Russian headlock right there. But yeah, Nickel and Co here in the middle need to do something special to the Russian armada. Is it going to happen? I mean, the kill feed, it's very Finnish. They're starting to pick off players one by one.
The other one's pushing forward, and as I was saying, I mean, don't allow for Finland to get a chance into this, because they are good players. I mean, yes, you might have the player like the numbers advantage 4-1, but as you can see here, these guys know what they're doing. What I was about to say though is they cannot start losing players. Now they lost 2. All of a sudden, it's a 2v20, and that might just be too much.
Yeah, at worst, you have to be rezzing your knocks. You know, if someone's getting knocked, you have to res them quickly. But I think as soon as the Russians are working out where one guy is, they just crash it with 5 players now. And yeah, I mean, every time there's these trades coming in, realistically, it's all she wrote. I think Zoom might be the last one up. I think
he is. Yeah. Soon, 1v18. Are you going to deny the kill, or are you going to get yourself some extra screen time? I was thinking, if you throw a pan straight in the air, can you catch it with your face and kill yourself?
I'd like to see her try.
He doesn't have a pan, which is that's the strategy.
I think it might be a she. I think Zoom's a she, not a he. But anyway,
either way. Doesn't have a pan, so it might not matter all that much. Oh, now they know. Now they know. Lucy is down. There's going to be more to follow, though.
Run. Is this like, are they going to go one by one? Zoom has to win 17. Oh, no.
He eliminates himself. I knew that was going to happen too. That is so dumb. Either way, I like the effort. Finland down 3-0.